He who is brave is free. Seneca. What if I told you that understanding the dark psychology behind why women cheat could unlock a new level of strength and clarity in your relationships, without losing your peace of mind? In a world where trust is fragile and emotions run deep, many men find themselves by betrayal, confused by the why behind it all. But what if the answer lies not in chasing blame, but in mastering yourself through timeless Stoic wisdom? In this video, we dive deep into the hidden psychological triggers that drive infidelity, revealing the subtle signs most men miss, and how you can protect your emotional sovereignty while gaining profound insight into human nature. This isn't just about exposing painful truths, it's about transforming them into power and resilience. If you want to become a man who stands unshaken by the chaos around him, who understands relationships on a level that transcends surface emotions, then this video is your guide. Watch till the very end, because the greatest lessons and the keys to lasting peace are reserved for those who are willing to face the truth head-on. Get ready to change the way you see love, loyalty, and yourself. Number 1. Emotional neglect as a key trigger. When you think about why a woman might stray emotionally or physically, it's tempting to jump to conclusions about character or morality. But if you want to understand the darker psychology behind why women cheat, one of the most powerful and often overlooked triggers is emotional neglect. It's not about blame or pointing fingers. It's about recognizing a deep, silent hunger that, when left unaddressed, can fester into something destructive. Emotional neglect means a lack of attention, empathy, and genuine connection. It's the slow erosion of feeling seen, valued, and understood by the person who matters most. And when that happens, it opens a door to vulnerabilities no one wants to admit. You may not even realize how easy it is to fall into this trap. Life gets busy, routines set in, and you assume your partner feels love just because the basics are covered. But love isn't just about showing up physically or providing materially. It's about presence. It's about tuning into what your partner truly feels beneath the surface. When emotional needs are ignored, even unintentionally, it leaves a void. That void breeds loneliness, and loneliness, as the Stoics might remind us, is a powerful force that disturbs the soul's tranquility. Wrote, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If you fail to nourish your partner's emotional world, you risk planting seeds of dissatisfaction that no amount of surface-level comfort can fix. This dissatisfaction can push someone to seek validation, connection, or passion elsewhere, even if it's fleeting or destructive. It's not about justifying cheating, but about recognizing what leads to it, so you can change the narrative. Here's the hard truth. Emotional neglect often begins with your own distraction and lack of awareness. It's a subtle thing, like not noticing the silent signals in your partner's eyes, or dismissing their need to share something important because you're caught up in your own world. But these moments pile up. They're like tiny cracks that eventually form a chasm between two people. You don't want that, and you can stop it now. Start by sharpening your emotional awareness. Practice the simple act of truly listening, not just hearing words, but tuning into the feelings behind them. When your partner talks, put down distractions. Make eye contact. Reflect back what you hear. This isn't about fixing or solving immediately, but about showing that you care deeply. Seneca said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." Being fully present with your partner in these moments plants the seeds of trust and emotional safety. Next, examine your own responses to emotional needs. Are you quick to dismiss or minimize what's shared? Do you react defensively or withdraw? Change this. Train yourself to respond with curiosity and openness. You don't have to have all the answers, but you must be willing to engage with vulnerability. Vulnerability is strength, not weakness. It builds intimacy. It prevents the silent loneliness that leads to temptation. Make it a daily habit to check in, not with words like, "Are you okay?" but with genuine interest. Ask questions that invite honesty and create space for your partner to express themselves without fear of judgment. This practice rewires the way you relate, making emotional neglect less likely to take root. Remember, emotional neglect isn't always intentional, but the consequences can be just as real. The Stoics teach us to control what's within our power, our own thoughts, actions, and reactions. You cannot control others, but you can control how you show up in your relationship. You can choose to be present, attentive, and emotionally available. So take this moment to reflect on your relationship. Are you truly nourishing the emotional connection, or is neglect creeping in? If you catch yourself slipping, pause, breathe. Recommit to being the partner who listens with intention and loves without reservation. Because when emotional needs are met, the roots of temptation weaken and the foundation of trust grows stronger. You have the power to stop emotional neglect before it spirals into something harmful. Own it. Act on it. Become the steady, emotionally engaged man who protects not only his relationship, but also his peace of mind. That's the kind of strength that Stoic wisdom calls you to embody. Number 2, the role of unmet needs and validation. When it comes to understanding why women cheat, it's easy to get lost in blame or assumptions. But if you want to grasp the deeper truth, especially from a Stoic perspective, you need to look beyond the surface and focus on unmet needs and the hunger for validation. You see, everyone craves to feel seen, valued, and understood. When those needs go unmet, the human heart can wander, seeking what it lacks somewhere else. This isn't about weakness or moral failing. It's about a gap in emotional connection that can quietly grow until it becomes a chasm. You might think, "But I'm here. Why is that enough?" And that's exactly why this insight matters. It's not about proving your worth to someone else. It's about knowing yourself deeply enough to meet your own standards and then fostering a relationship that echoes that balance. The Stoics teach us that external things, praise, love, approval, should not dictate our peace of mind. Wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." When you hear about unmet needs and validation, it's tempting to think that if your partner seeks these outside the relationship, it's a failing on your part or hers. But the truth is more complex. Validation is a universal human need. If you're not consciously providing it, or if your own self-validation is weak, the relationship can unintentionally become a vacuum, pulling in distractions, temptations, or even betrayals. So what does this mean for you? First, understand that unmet needs are signals, not punishments. They tell you there is work to be done, inside yourself and in your connection with your partner. Stoicism doesn't encourage you to beg for attention or validation. Rather, it calls you to build your inner fortress, your self-respect, and your ability to communicate openly without fear. You must be the calm, steady presence that both recognizes your own worth and invites honesty. When you feel secure in who you are, you don't rely on your partner's approval to feel whole, but you create a space where authentic connection can thrive. Take a moment right now. Ask yourself, how often do I seek validation outside of myself? How much do I rely on others to tell me I'm enough? And in your relationship, how often do you pause to genuinely check in, not just on logistics or surface-level issues, but on emotional fulfillment? This reflection isn't about self-criticism, but about awareness. Awareness is the beginning of change. Here's a simple but powerful exercise. Each day, spend 5 minutes in quiet reflection. List 3 qualities you deeply value in yourself. Let these qualities root you. Then think about your relationship. Are these qualities mirrored in your connection? Where do you sense gaps? If you can face these honestly, you're already practicing the Stoic art of self-examination, which leads to growth. Remember, unmet needs often arise when communication falters. Silence, avoidance, or resentment act like shadows growing longer in a fatting room. Stoicism teaches the power of clear, direct dialogue without the noise of blame or expectation. When you can calmly express what you feel and invite your partner to do the same, you build a foundation that resists cracks and temptations. Because validation isn't about constant praise, it's about mutual recognition and respect. It's about showing up fully, with vulnerability and strength intertwined. You have the power to change this dynamic. It starts by owning your own sense of value and by refusing to let silence or neglect grow unchecked. This doesn't mean perfection, it means progress. It means choosing daily to be the person who offers calm assurance, honest communication, and unwavering self-respect. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Your work is not to control others, but to master yourself. And in doing so, you transform the space where love either flourishes or fades. So take this as your call to action. Build your inner strength, listen deeply to your own needs, and foster connection without fear. The truth about unmet needs and validation is that they're gateways, not walls. Walk through them with courage, and you'll not only protect your relationships but elevate your own life to something unshakable. Number 3, manipulation tactics, often used unconsciously. Understanding the subtle and often unconscious manipulation tactics that play a role in why women cheat can feel like stepping into a shadowy realm. But here's the thing, you don't have to be trapped or confused by it. These behaviors, whether you realize it or not, aren't always cold calculations. Many times, they are survival strategies, emotional nudges, or unconscious patterns that shift dynamics in relationships. Recognizing these tactics isn't about blaming or condemning. It's about empowering yourself with awareness so you can reclaim control and foster healthier connections. The Stoics teach us that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, as said. Your awareness, your mindset, that's where transformation begins. You need to see manipulation for what it often is. A way to gain emotional leverage when someone feels unseen, unheard, or insecure. This can come through subtle forms like guilt tripping, making you feel responsible for their moods or actions without outright stating it, or through stonewalling, where silence becomes a weapon that pressures you to fill the void with explanations or concessions. Sometimes it's about shifting blame or rewriting reality in a way that leaves you questioning your own perception. These tactics are sneaky because they don't scream manipulation outright. Instead, they seep into the cracks of everyday interactions, slowly wearing down your confidence and clarity. You must learn to spot these behaviors, not to accuse or create conflict, but to protect your mental space and keep your boundaries strong. Imagine your mind as a fortress. If you don't guard it, even small emotional invasions can cause damage over time. The Stoics remind us to be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Start by observing how you feel after interactions. Do you walk away confused, doubting your worth, or feeling guilty for things you didn't do? That's a red flag waving in plain sight. When you notice this, pause. Don't react immediately. Instead, step back and question, what is really going on here? What emotions are being stirred and why? Here's your action. Cultivate emotional independence. This means you don't surrender your peace based on someone else's emotional storms or silent games. Practice returning to your center. When you feel triggered, take a breath and remind yourself that you control your reaction. You might try a simple mental exercise. Label the tactic in your mind. This is guilt tripping. Just naming it deflates its power. You're no longer a victim swept away by waves, but a captain steering your ship through turbulent waters. At the same time, don't mistake manipulation for weakness or vulnerability. People often resort to these tactics because they lack tools for healthy communication. Your job isn't to fix or rescue, but to uphold your integrity and clarity. Said, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. This is a personal compass to navigate tricky emotional terrain. If something doesn't align with your values or truth, stand firm. Silence or calm refusal can be your strongest response. Remember, mastering this awareness is a practice that builds resilience over time. You'll find that as your inner fortress strengthens, you become less reactive to emotional manipulations. Your presence itself becomes a boundary, a quiet power that discourages games and invites authenticity instead. This doesn't mean shutting people out or becoming cold. It means valuing yourself enough to demand respect, clarity, and truth in every interaction. So start now. Tune into your feelings, question the subtle pushes and pulls in your relationships, and claim your peace. You deserve connections built on honesty, not unconscious manipulation. Keep this in mind. He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a man who is alive, said Seneca. Fear of conflict or discomfort often lets manipulation slip by unnoticed. Choose courage instead. Face the shadows, understand them, and rise above with calm strength. That's the real power Stoicism offers you, and that power is what changes everything. Number 4. Impact of boredom and loss of connection. Boredom and loss of connection are silent saboteurs in relationships, the subtle cracks that, if left unattended, can open wide into the chasm of infidelity. When you feel boredom creeping in, when the spark dims, the conversations turn shallow and the moments together feel more like routine than connection. This is not just a passing phase. It's a warning sign. It's a call to action, urging you to wake up and reclaim the vitality of your bond. You see, relationships aren't meant to be stagnant ponds but flowing rivers that need constant attention to keep them alive and vibrant. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." If you let boredom settle, you're not living in the present with your partner. You're drifting apart, and that gap creates fertile ground for temptation. When connection fades, it's not just the surface things that suffer, it's the core of intimacy. Connection is the invisible thread that weaves two lives together. Without it, the emotional bank account runs dry. And when that happens, you both start searching for meaning and excitement elsewhere, sometimes without even realizing it. This is the dangerous territory where dark psychology creeps in. It whispers in moments of weakness, promising thrills, novelty, or escape. But here's the truth. No external distraction or fling can fill the void left by disconnection. That void is a reflection of what's missing between you and your partner. You have the power to change that. It begins with awareness and intention. The key is to stop waiting for the relationship to magically fix itself or for your partner to make things better. As taught, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. You can use the discomfort of boredom as a catalyst. Instead of avoiding it or blaming it, confront it head-on. Recognize when you're sliding into monotony. Ask yourself, when was the last time we truly connected, not just shared space, but shared thoughts, dreams, and vulnerabilities? When was the last time you really listened or expressed something meaningful? Start here, because deep connection demands effort. It's a choice you make daily, not a feeling that just happens. Try this practical exercise. Set aside time regularly, no phones, no distractions, and engage in honest, curious conversation. Not the surface-level stuff, but the kind that challenges and excites you both. Talk about your fears, your aspirations, your values. Listen more than you speak. This alone can breathe fresh life into your connection and reignite that spark that boredom tried to smother. When you practice this consistently, you create a relationship immune to the dullness that leads to wandering eyes. you also have to look inward. Often, boredom isn't just about the other person, it reflects your own disengagement. Are you bringing your best self to the relationship? Are you growing, evolving, staying curious about life and your partner? The Stoics remind us that growth is continuous. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your thoughts turn stagnant, so will your soul, and so will your relationships. Commit to being present, curious, and engaged, not just in your own life but in the life you share. This shift alone makes you more attractive, more alive, and more connected. Remember, no relationship is perfect or free of challenges, but boredom and disconnection don't have to be the dark turning points that lead to betrayal. They can be the signposts pointing you toward a deeper, more intentional love. You hold the reins. You decide to act, to nurture, to reconnect. The choice is yours. When you do, you reclaim your power, not just as a partner, but as a man grounded in wisdom, strength, and true connection. So don't wait, start now. Notice the small signs, reach out, engage deeply, grow relentlessly, because the alternative, letting boredom fester, is a path that steals more than just trust. It steals the very essence of what brought you together. Be the man who turns the tide, who brings light where darkness tried to settle. Your relationship and your soul will thank you for it. Number 5, importance of self-awareness and boundary setting. If there's one truth that stands out in understanding why women cheat, and honestly, why any relationship breaks down, it's this. Without self-awareness and clear boundary setting, you're playing a dangerous game blindfolded. You might think that cheating happens out of nowhere, some sudden betrayal that comes crashing through without warning. But the real cause often starts quietly inside your own mind, your own actions, your own limits. If you want to guard your relationships and your peace of mind, you have to begin by mastering yourself first. The Stoics knew this well, said, "The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit." That untroubled spirit comes from knowing who you are, what you will tolerate, and what you won't. Self-awareness is like the lighthouse in a stormy sea. Without it, you drift aimlessly, unable to see the rocks ahead. You have to be honest with yourself, not just about the good stuff, but about your weaknesses, your triggers, the moments when you're vulnerable. This isn't about self-judgment or beating yourself up. No, it's about clarity. When you see yourself clearly, your thoughts, your emotions, your patterns, you're empowered to steer your life in the right direction. Without it, you're just reacting, surviving instead of thriving. Now, boundaries. These are your personal lines in the sand. They define what you accept and what you refuse to tolerate in any relationship, especially intimate ones. Think of boundaries as a form of respect you give yourself. When you set strong boundaries, you're saying, "This is who I am. This is what I deserve." And it's not just about others respecting those boundaries, but you respecting them yourself. It's easy to say yes when you want to avoid conflict or feel desperate for connection, but every yes that goes against your true self chips away at your foundation. Over time, those cracks grow and invite chaos. The Stoics teach us the power of control, what is up to you and what is not. You can't control the choices others make, but what you can control is how clearly you define your boundaries and how firmly you uphold them. When your boundaries are blurred, when you're inconsistent or vague, you send mixed signals. Confusion creeps in. That's when attraction fades, trust erodes, and temptation finds a foothold. You might be thinking, this sounds rigid, maybe even harsh. But it's actually the opposite. Setting boundaries is freeing. It's about carving out space for genuine respect and connection to flourish. When you know your limits and hold to them, you attract people who respect those limits, people who see your value and treat you accordingly. It's a silent language of strength and self-worth. And when your self-awareness is sharp, you can catch early warning signs. Your gut whispering that something isn't right before it blows up into betrayal. Here, where the real work begins. Start by tuning into your feelings. When do you feel uneasy? When do you feel your peace is disturbed? Journal those moments. Reflect on what boundaries might be missing or slipping. Next, practice saying no, not just out loud but firmly in your mind when tempted to bend your own rules. This isn't about shutting others out, it's about protecting your inner fortress. Remember Epictetus's wisdom. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Your boundaries don't need to be loudly proclaimed. They show in how you carry yourself, what you accept and what you don't. They show in your daily choices. They build an invisible shield that attracts respect and repels disrespect. So cultivate self-awareness like a daily habit. Check in with yourself honestly and kindly. Sharpen your sense of what you will and won't allow. Hold your boundaries with grace and firmness. This is your armor against the darker sides of relationships, including betrayal. It's also the path to a stronger, truer connection, one that isn't based on fear or desperation, but on mutual respect and understanding. You have the power to protect yourself. Use it wisely. Start today. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Understanding the dark psychology behind why women cheat isn't about blaming. It's about seeing the truth clearly, without illusions. Now that you've unlocked these hard truths and the timeless Stoic wisdom to navigate them, remember, true strength lies in mastering yourself, not controlling others. If this video opened your eyes or challenged your perspective, make sure to hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe for more insights that empower your journey as a man. Stay grounded, stay resilient, and most importantly, stay true to your own path. Until next time, keep your mind sharp and your heart steady. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Epictetus. What if I told you that mastering one dark Stoic trick could instantly transform how women see you, not just as another guy, but as a man worthy of respect, intrigue, and genuine attraction? Imagine stepping into any room and having your presence silently command attention, without needing to say a word or try too hard. In a world full of fleeting charm and desperate attempts for approval, this Stoic approach cuts through the noise. It's not about being loud or flashy. It's about embodying a quiet strength that makes women naturally drawn to you, and more importantly, respect you. This isn't just theory, it's a powerful mindset shift rooted in ancient wisdom that modern men overlook. If you've ever felt invisible or underestimated, this video will open your eyes to the deeper truth behind magnetic respect. Stick around till the very end because the full secret lies in the subtle details most miss. Watch closely, apply what you learn, and watch how your relationships and confidence change forever. Ready to unlock the dark Stoic trick? Let's dive in. Number 1, master your emotions and stay calm under pressure. If there's one thing that instantly sets you apart and commands respect, it's your ability to master your emotions and stay calm under pressure. Think about it. How often have you noticed someone losing their cool, their confidence crumbling the moment things get intense? That shaky reaction, that sudden loss of control, doesn't just undermine respect, it shatters it. But here's the dark Stoic trick. When you learn to own your emotions instead of letting them own you, you become unshakable. You become magnetic. Women, and honestly, people in general, can sense that calm power. It's like a quiet signal that you're steady, reliable, and in control, no matter what chaos swirls around you. Stoicism teaches us that it's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. One of the greatest Stoic minds said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." The moment you internalize that truth, you step into a new kind of authority. No longer a victim of circumstances or emotional outbursts, you become the master of your own domain. Imagine walking into any situation, whether it's a heated conversation, a social challenge, or just a stressful moment, and feeling completely grounded. Your mind doesn't race. Your heart doesn't pound uncontrollably. Instead, there's a serene center inside you, steady and unbothered. That presence, it's magnetic. You can cultivate this mastery with practice, and here's the catch. It's not about suppressing emotions or pretending to be a robot. Far from it. Stoicism invites you to feel deeply but respond wisely, to acknowledge your feelings without being swept away. This subtle but profound distinction is what sets the truly powerful apart. When you face stress or confrontation, don't run from what you feel. Instead, pause, breathe, ask yourself, is this feeling serving me right now? If the answer is no, then choose a different path. A calm, measured response that reflects your inner strength, not your outer turmoil. Here's a practical exercise you can start today. When you feel your emotions rising, whether it's irritation, anxiety, or even excitement, stop for just a moment. Take a slow, deep breath in. Hold it for a second. Then exhale fully. Repeat this simple rhythm a few times. It sounds almost too easy, but this small ritual resets your nervous system, clearing the fog of emotional overwhelm. Over time, this builds a habit of self-control, training your brain to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Now consider how this translates into respect. When a woman sees you navigate pressure with calm assurance, she doesn't just notice your self-control, she feels safe and valued. Calmness breeds confidence, and confidence breeds attraction. It's the silent language of strength, the unspoken promise that you won't crumble when things get tough. People gravitate toward that kind of energy because it's rare and precious. You're not just reacting to the world, you're engaging with it on your own terms. And remember, this is a journey, not a switch you flip once and forget. Epictetus reminds us, no great thing is created suddenly. You build emotional mastery step by step, moment by moment. Each time you choose calm over chaos, you reinforce that inner fortress. Each time you breathe through discomfort instead of fleeing, you deepen your strength. You become a person who doesn't just survive challenges but rises above them, steady and sure. So make this commitment to yourself now. Begin to see your emotions as allies, not enemies. Practice the pause, the breath, the calm response. Feel the difference it makes, not just in how others see you, but in how you see yourself. Because true respect starts from within. When you master your emotions, you master your life. And that mastery, that's the dark Stoic trick that makes women and the world respect you instantly. Number 2, exhibit confident silence instead of over-explaining. There's a powerful, often overlooked tool you hold right now, and it's simpler than you think. It's silence. Not just any silence, but confident silence. A presence that speaks louder than words ever could. When you find yourself caught in the trap of over-explaining, of trying too hard to justify or defend yourself, you're actually giving away the very respect and authority you want to command. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." It's a reminder that speaking less but with purpose makes your words carry weight. When you start to exhibit confident silence, you shift the energy in the room. People, especially women, notice. They sense you don't need to prove anything, that your quiet confidence is rooted in self-control, clarity, and strength. Over-explaining comes from a place of insecurity. It's that whisper inside you saying, if I don't explain this fully, they won't get me. Or if I stay quiet, I'll lose control of how they see me. But here's the truth you need to hold close. Your value isn't in how much you talk or how many reasons you give. It's in your presence, your calm assurance, your ability to hold space without rushing to fill it with noise. When you stop trying to fill every silence, you start to command attention. People lean in because they're curious, not because you're begging for approval or understanding. This kind of silence isn't about being cold or detached, it's about being grounded. It's about showing that you're comfortable in your own skin, that you don't need to scramble for validation. Imagine standing in a conversation and letting your silence do the talking for you. It's magnetic. It signals strength, patience, and self-mastery. The Stoic sage reminded us, nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. When you cultivate that inner quiet, your external silence becomes powerful. It's an unspoken message. You know who you are, and you don't feel threatened by others, opinions, or judgments. So how do you start? First, recognize the moments you tend to over-explain. When you catch yourself about to defend or justify, pause, take a breath. Feel the discomfort but resist the urge to fill it. Practice holding that space without panic. It's like training a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger your confident silence becomes. Start small, in casual conversations. Let your answers be short but meaningful. If someone presses, don't feel compelled to add layers of detail. Instead, trust that your simplicity carries enough weight. The less you explain, the more you show that you trust yourself and your truth. You can also practice this in your mind before social interactions. Visualize yourself speaking with calm confidence, then letting your words hang in the air without rushing to add more. Imagine the respect that comes from your composure. This mental rehearsal rewires your response patterns, making it easier to embody confident silence when it really counts. Remember, silence is not emptiness, it's presence. It's a statement. It's a shield and a sword in one. It cuts through noise and distractions, focusing attention on you. When you wield silence well, you don't just demand respect, you inspire it. Women, like anyone else, are drawn to strength that doesn't shout but stands firm quietly. They feel the steadiness, the unshakable core beneath the calm exterior. Finally, take this to heart. Your worth isn't measured by how much you say, but by the strength of your character. Let silence be your ally in showing that strength. In the words of Seneca, he is most powerful who has power over himself. Master your silence, master yourself, and watch how instantly respect follows. You have the power to shift how people perceive you simply by choosing when to speak and when to be still. So step into that space, own it. Let silence make you magnetic. Number 3, set clear personal boundaries and enforce them consistently. If you want to command respect from women, and really from anyone, there's a core truth you can't skip. You have to set clear personal boundaries and stick to them, no exceptions. This isn't about building walls or shutting people out. It's about defining who you are and what you will and won't tolerate. The Stoics knew this well. Seneca reminded us, no man is free who is not master of himself. Mastery begins with understanding your limits and enforcing them consistently. When you hold firm to your boundaries, you send a powerful message. You respect yourself, and you expect others to do the same. But here's the catch: setting boundaries is only half the battle. The real power lies in enforcing them. It's not enough to say, "This is my line," if you allow it to be crossed time and again. Respect is earned through consistency. When you waver, when you let others push past what you've said is off limits, you teach them that your boundaries are optional, that your word isn't reliable. And without reliability, respect evaporates. Imagine your boundaries as the frame of a building. If the frame is weak, the whole structure crumbles. Strengthen the frame and everything else stands firm. You might think, isn't this going to make me look harsh or unapproachable? On the contrary, people, women especially, are drawn to men who know themselves and don't bend like reeds in the wind. This kind of grounded presence radiates confidence, calmness, and control. Counseled, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When you control your boundaries, you control a part of your world, and that stability is magnetic. Here's the thing: boundaries aren't just about keeping things out, they're also about keeping things in. They protect your time, your energy, your values. If you're constantly saying yes to everything, you risk losing yourself. But when you say no, when you enforce limits, you're telling the world you have priorities, that your life matters. This attitude commands respect because it's rooted in self-worth, not arrogance. How do you get started? First, get clear about your boundaries. What behaviors or attitudes do you absolutely not accept? What are your deal breakers? Write them down. Don't leave this to vague feelings or hopes that others will just get it. Clarity is your first weapon. Next, practice saying no in small ways. The Stoics believed in preparation. Anticipate situations where your boundaries might be tested and rehearse your response. When you practice, your mind gets ready to stay steady. Then when the moment comes, stand firm. If someone disrespects your boundary, address it immediately. Don't stew in silence or let resentment build. Calmly but firmly say, "I'm not okay with that," or "That's not acceptable to me." This isn't about anger, it's about ownership of your space and your emotions. Epictetus said, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things." Your judgment says this boundary is vital. Enforce it without drama, without apology. Remember, enforcing boundaries isn't a one-time event. It's a lifestyle, a continuous practice. The more consistent you are, the more natural it becomes. And as it becomes natural, your confidence grows, and so does the respect you command. Women sense when a man lives with integrity, when his actions align with his words. That alignment breeds trust and admiration. Try this exercise. For 1 week, identify a boundary you want to strengthen. It could be about how you allow others to speak to you, how much time you give to distractions, or how you protect your personal space. Each time that boundary is tested, pause, take a breath. Then respond with clarity and calmness, reinforcing your limits. Reflect each evening on how it felt, what worked, and where you can improve. This simple discipline rewires your mind and reshapes how others perceive you. You don't need to be loud or aggressive to command respect. The dark Stoic trick is quiet but powerful. Set your lines, guard them fiercely, and live by them with unwavering consistency. As you do, you'll find that respect from women and from life itself won't be something you chase. It will come naturally, drawn to the man who stands firm in his truth. So start now. Define your boundaries, hold them with steady hands, and watch how your world shifts. Number 4, show value through actions, not words. You want respect, real respect. Not the kind that comes from empty compliments or shallow words thrown around carelessly, but the kind that sticks, quiet, solid, unshakable. The dark Stoic secret. Show value through your actions, not your words. This isn't about loud declarations or bragging about your accomplishments. It's about embodying your worth so deeply that it speaks for itself, without you having to say a thing. Reminded us that waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. B1. You don't tell people you're valuable, you live it, you become it. Words are cheap. Anyone can say they're confident, trustworthy, or worthy of respect. But actions demand attention. They carry weight. When you focus on showing up, following through, and standing firm in your principles, you create a magnetic presence that pulls respect toward you naturally. Imagine the power you hold when your behavior consistently reflects integrity, strength, and calm assurance. That kind of value is undeniable. It's silent but loud in its impact. You've got to get comfortable with letting your deeds do the talking. Think about it like this. Every time you choose to keep your word, to act with discipline, to stay composed when things get tough, you're sending a powerful message. You're telling the world and yourself that you're reliable, that you can be counted on. That consistency builds a foundation of respect that no flashy words can replicate. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." It's a call to action that cuts through the noise of empty talk. Start with the small things. Show up on time. Follow through on promises, no matter how small. Handle your responsibilities without complaint or excuse. These may seem minor, but they accumulate, layering your character with undeniable proof of your value. People notice reliability. They notice strength under pressure. And they feel compelled to respect that because it's rare. The world is full of talkers. Be the one who acts. But it doesn't stop there. Actions fueled by genuine self-awareness and purpose carry even more weight. The Stoics remind us to know ourselves deeply, to understand our values and live in alignment with them. When your actions come from a place of inner clarity, they resonate authenticity. And authenticity is magnetic. It cuts through pretension and builds trust. When you act not for show, but because it aligns with who you truly are, respect becomes a natural byproduct. You might be thinking, that sounds great, but how do I start? The answer is deceptively simple but requires commitment. Begin each day by setting clear intentions about who you want to be, not in words, but in the concrete behaviors you will embody. It could be as straightforward as deciding to listen more than you speak or handling a difficult task without complaint. Reflect on your progress daily. Did your actions reflect your values? Where did you fall short? Then adjust and keep going. The Stoics practiced daily reflection because they knew growth demands honesty and persistence. Here's a practical exercise for you. For 1 week, focus entirely on action over words in one area of your life, whether it's work, friendships, or even how you treat strangers. Let go of explaining or justifying yourself. Instead, let your behavior set the tone. Observe how people respond. Notice the subtle shifts in how you feel about yourself too. You'll find that respect doesn't come from talking about what you want to be. It comes from silently becoming that person through steady, intentional actions. Remember, showing value through actions isn't about perfection. It's about consistency and authenticity. It's about cultivating a presence so genuine and reliable that respect naturally follows without you having to chase it. As Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." When you embody enough strength, enough integrity, enough calm confidence, you need nothing else to command respect. So stop talking, start doing. Let your life be the quiet declaration of your worth. When you do, you don't just gain respect, you embody it. And that's a power no one can take away from you. Number 5, maintain unwavering self-respect and integrity. If there's one thing that instantly commands respect, especially from women, it's unwavering self-respect and integrity. It's not about loud displays or trying too hard to impress. Real respect comes from something deeper, something rooted in how you view yourself and how you carry that truth into the world. The Stoics remind us over and over that our worth isn't something to be negotiated or handed out by others. It's something we own, unshakable and steady. Said it best, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. You have the power and responsibility to live that every single day. Think about what it means to maintain self-respect. It's not just a feeling, it's an active practice. It's the way you refuse to settle for less than what aligns with your values, even when it's uncomfortable. It's the quiet but firm voice inside you that says, "I deserve honesty, I deserve kindness, I deserve to be treated with dignity." And you don't wait for someone else to give you those things, you claim them for yourself. This is the dark Stoic trick. Respect isn't begged for or bargained with. It's demanded by your very presence, by the way you live and refuse to compromise. Integrity walks hand in hand with this. Integrity means your actions match your words. No facades, no putting on a show just to get approval. It means you're consistent, reliable, and true to who you are, regardless of the audience or the situation. Women and people in general are incredibly sensitive to this kind of authenticity. They can sense when someone is playing a role, trying to be what they think others want. But when you're grounded in your own truth, that sincerity radiates. It's magnetic. It signals strength, maturity, and trustworthiness. You might wonder, how do I cultivate this unshakable self-respect and integrity? Start small. Begin with the promises you make to yourself. When you say you're going to do something, follow through, no excuses. When you set boundaries, stick to them firmly but calmly. Notice how this changes your internal dialogue and how others respond to you. It's a practice of self-honesty, a daily commitment. Seneca said, If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable. Know your values, know your limits, and let them be your compass. Another key is managing your inner critic and external influences. Society might push you to conform, to soften your edges, or to seek validation from others. But the Stoics urge you to stand firm. Epictetus reminds us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This means defining your own standards for respect and living by them, no matter the noise around you. It's about becoming your own judge and jury, not harsh but fair and firm. Here's a practical exercise. Every evening, reflect on moments during the day when you upheld your values and when you didn't. What tempted you to compromise? How did you respond? Writing this down builds awareness and accountability. Over time, you'll notice patterns and strengthen your resolve. It's not about perfection. It's about steady progress, like a sculptor chiseling away at a masterpiece. Remember, true self-respect isn't arrogance or pride. It's a calm confidence that doesn't need validation because it's rooted in reality, your reality. It's the inner fortress you build so that external circumstances don't shake your foundation. When you walk through life carrying this strength, you don't just attract respect, you command it effortlessly. Women sense this power deeply. It's the kind of respect that opens doors, creates trust, and builds lasting connections. So start now. Commit to honoring yourself with integrity. Speak your truth with quiet courage. Let your actions be consistent with your highest values. This is the dark Stoic trick, not a flashy tactic but a profound way of being. And as you cultivate this, you'll find respect flows naturally, not from manipulation or performance, but from the undeniable presence of a man who knows his worth and refuses to settle for anything less. Now that you've uncovered this powerful Stoic trick, the choice is yours. Will you let it transform how women perceive and respect you? Remember, true respect is earned through calm confidence and unwavering self-control, not through force or flashy gestures. If you apply this principle consistently, you'll notice the shift instantly. If you found value in this, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep mindset hacks, and share your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear how this changes your game. Stay strong, stay silent, and keep mastering yourself. Until next time, keep living the Stoic way. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Seneca. What if I told you that every challenge she throws your way, every test she silently sets, isn't random, but a carefully coded message about who you truly are? Imagine being able to see beyond the surface, decoding her tests with unshakable calm and confidence, just like the Stoics mastered life's storms. Welcome to the dark truth, why women test men, Stoic secrets to passing every test. This isn't just another relationship video. It's a deep dive into the hidden dynamics women use to evaluate men, and how you can pass every single test with the wisdom of ancient Stoic philosophy. If you've ever felt confused or frustrated by mixed signals, this video will unlock the secret mindset that shifts the power balance, giving you clarity and control. Stick with me till the very end because the final key tip will transform the way you respond to these tests forever. Trust me, once you understand these Stoic secrets, nothing will shake your confidence again. Ready to discover the truth behind her tests? Let's dive in. Number 1. Understanding why women test men from a psychological and Stoic perspective. Alright, let's get straight to the heart of it. You might be wondering why women sometimes put men to the test, those moments when it feels like you're walking on a tightrope, trying to prove yourself without even knowing what you're proving. It's a question that's puzzled many, but once you start peeling back the layers, you'll see it's less about trickery and more about something far deeper. When you grasp this, you gain power, real power, to pass every test with calm confidence. First off, from a psychological angle, testing is a way for women to feel safe and secure. It's their method of figuring out if you're trustworthy, steady, and strong enough to stand by their side. Think of it like a filter, not meant to trip you up but designed to protect their emotional well-being. But here's the thing. This is where most men get caught in the trap of reacting emotionally or trying too hard to impress. That's exactly what you want to avoid. Now here, where Stoicism steps in as your secret weapon, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Women's tests are outside events, ripples in the water. Your strength lies in how you respond to those ripples. Instead of getting thrown off balance, you anchor yourself with calm and clarity. You don't flinch or scramble to prove anything because you already know who you are. This is the mindset shift you have to adopt. It's not about winning their approval. It's about maintaining your own internal fortress. Understand this deeply. Women aren't testing you to catch you out or play games. They're seeking certainty, the kind that only a man who has mastered himself can give. When you're calm in the face of their tests, you radiate something primal and magnetic: reliability. This isn't about manipulation or being cold. It's about embodying steadiness. Like Epictetus advised, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Your power is your composure, your values, your unshakable character. So how do you start owning this? Begin by practicing emotional detachment in small daily challenges. When someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of letting anger spike, take a breath and remind yourself, this moment isn't about them, it's about my response. This is your training ground for bigger tests down the road. When a woman throws a curveball, you'll be ready because you've built that muscle of calm. Another practical exercise is to journal your reactions. Each evening, reflect on moments you felt tested, not necessarily by women but by life. Did you react impulsively or with steady thought? Over time, you'll notice patterns and gain insight into your emotional triggers. Awareness is half the battle won. Here's something crucial. Do not fall into the trap of seeking validation from these tests. It's a common pitfall, but validation is fleeting and external. Instead, cultivate an internal compass anchored in your principles. Remind yourself daily of your worth, independent of anyone else's approval. This mindset will transform how you experience tests, turning them from obstacles into opportunities to demonstrate your character. You must also embrace patience. Stoics knew the art of timing, not rushing to react but letting situations unfold naturally. When tested, resist the urge to over-explain or justify yourself. Silence or a calm, measured response often says far more than words ever could. Remember Seneca's words, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." Passing these tests requires courage to stay true to yourself amid uncertainty. In the end, the dark truth about why women test men isn't dark at all when you understand it through the lens of Stoicism. It's a challenge to grow, to sharpen your inner resolve, and to embody the kind of man who doesn't just survive tests but thrives because of them. So take this knowledge and turn it into action. Start small. Practice calm. Build awareness and anchor yourself in your principles. Do this, and you won't just pass every test. You'll become the man others want to test themselves against. Number 2, common types of tests women unconsciously give men. All right, listen up. Understanding the common types of tests women unconsciously give men is a game changer. If you want to navigate relationships with confidence and clarity, you need to see these tests for what they really are. They're not tricks or traps designed to trip you up, but subtle signals, challenges that reveal your inner strength, your emotional resilience, and how you carry yourself when things get uncertain. Once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. This is exactly the mindset you want to bring here. When you realize these tests are about your response, not the situation, you're already ahead. So what are these tests? First, you'll often encounter the silence test. It's that sudden pause in conversation, that moment when she's quiet, waiting to see if you'll chase or keep your cool. It's about whether you can handle uncertainty without panic. When this happens, don't rush to fill the void with words or frantic texting. Instead, lean into calmness. Take a deep breath and remember Epictetus' wisdom. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Practice this by intentionally sitting in silence during conversations or social situations. Don't fear the pause, own it. This trains your mind to be comfortable without needing constant validation. Then there's the challenge to your confidence. She might question your choices, your values, or even your ambitions, not because she doubts you, but because she's subconsciously testing if you stand firm or crumble. You need to be unshakable here. Remember, Stoicism isn't about being rigid but steady. It's about responding with reason, not emotion. When you feel that impulse to defend or prove yourself, pause and ask, does this matter to my core principles? If not, let it slide. You're building a fortress of inner certainty, not walls that isolate you. You'll also run into the emotional trigger test. Sometimes, subtle comments or behaviors are designed to spark a reaction, jealousy, frustration, or insecurity. This isn't manipulation, it's an opportunity to master yourself. Seneca taught, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. So next time you feel that flame of irritation, step back mentally. Take a moment to breathe, assess if your reaction serves you or sabotages you. Make it a habit to journal these moments, noting what triggered you and how you can shift your response next time. Awareness builds control. Another common test is the loyalty or commitment challenge. It's less about the words and more about your actions, your consistency, your reliability. Can she count on you to show up, to be real, to not waver when the easy route is tempting? This is where your daily habits matter. Start small. Follow through on your promises, even the tiny ones. Be punctual, be honest, be present. These may seem like mundane actions, but they build trust and demonstrate that you're someone steady, someone who holds their word like a sacred duty. Lastly, there's the authenticity test. This one's all about whether you're truly yourself or playing a role you think she wants. It's tempting to adjust and perform, but Stoics remind us to be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. Authenticity means standing firm in your values and quirks, not bending to fit. Practice this by daily reflection. What parts of me am I hiding out of fear? How can I bring more of my true self forward without apology? The real power is in showing up honestly. Here's the key. These tests aren't meant to trip you up or make you feel inadequate. They're invitations to grow, to practice the Stoic virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance in real time. So when you sense a test, don't retreat or overreact. Embrace it. See it as your chance to demonstrate strength under pressure, to cultivate emotional mastery, and to become the man who is unshakable not because life is easy, but because he has trained his mind to be resilient. Start today. When you face silence, don't panic, sit with it. When challenged, stand firm without anger. When triggered, breathe and reflect. When commitment is tested, honor your word with small acts. When authenticity is questioned, show up as you, unfiltered. This is how you pass every test, not by controlling the situation, but by mastering yourself. You've got this. Number 3. How to maintain composure and emotional control during these tests. All right, let's dive straight in. When women test men, it's often less about you and more about how you handle yourself. Maintaining composure and emotional control during these moments isn't just some random skill. It's the cornerstone of how you show strength, stability, and confidence without saying a word. Think of it like this. The way you react tells a story far louder than any argument or explanation ever could. If you lose your cool, you're handing over control. But if you stay calm, you become the steady anchor, the unshakable presence that naturally draws respect and trust. Now, embracing this kind of control isn't about suppressing your feelings or pretending to be emotionless. Once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. The key is understanding that your emotional response is always your choice. When you recognize this truth, you're no longer a puppet to momentary impulses or tests designed to unsettle you. You own your mind, and from that ownership flows true freedom. So how do you get there? Start by training yourself in moments of calm. Yes, calm even when your insides want to scream. When you feel the heat rising inside, take a deep breath. Really focus on that breath. Let it anchor you. It's a simple tool, but it's powerful beyond measure. Every time you practice this, you're reinforcing a habit, building a muscle that gets stronger the more you flex it. Next time you face a test, your first reflex won't be to react impulsively. It'll be to steady yourself. Another powerful way to maintain composure is to step back mentally and remind yourself, this is just a test. It doesn't define me. Picture yourself as a calm lake. No matter what stirs the surface, underneath you remain still and deep. In these moments, remember Epictetus's words. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you hold this truth in your heart, those provocations lose their power to knock you off balance. But don't stop at awareness. Put your Stoic mindset into practice daily. Challenge yourself to sit quietly for a few minutes each day, observing your thoughts without judgment. Watch how your mind tries to rush to conclusions, get angry, or panic. Then, simply let those thoughts pass like clouds across the sky. This practice rewires your brain to respond with calmness rather than chaos. You can also prepare your mind by mentally rehearsing difficult scenarios. Picture yourself receiving a challenge or criticism and calmly responding with clarity and control. Visualize how you'd keep your voice steady, your posture relaxed, and your thoughts clear. This mental rehearsal isn't just daydreaming. It's building a blueprint in your brain for how you'll act when the real test comes. Now here's something crucial. Don't confuse composure with coldness. Women aren't testing you because they want you to be a stone statue. They're testing to see if you can be strong and calm but still deeply human and connected. So, practice balancing emotional control with genuine presence. When you speak, make your words count. When you listen, truly listen without rushing to fix or react. Show that you're grounded inside but open and caring outside. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every moment you choose to breathe, to step back, and to respond with calm instead of reactivity, you're passing that test. You're showing that your mind is your kingdom, and no outside event can breach your walls unless you let it. This is the essence of Stoic strength, mastering yourself before mastering the world. So commit to this path. The next time you feel the test coming, don't run from it or fight fire with fire. Instead, meet it with the quiet power of your own calm mind. Practice, train, and remind yourself daily. The power to remain composed is yours. Take it. Own it. Let it transform how you face every challenge and test, no matter where they come from. Number 4 Stoic principles to respond wisely and confidently. If you want to truly master the art of responding wisely and confidently when women test you, you have to tap into the timeless power of Stoic principles. This isn't just some abstract philosophy reserved for scholars or ancient sages. It's a toolkit for living with unshakable calm, clarity, and control, especially when things get tricky. Imagine standing firm like who said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That strength is exactly what you need to pass every test thrown your way. When a woman tests you, what she's really doing is probing to see if you're steady, reliable, and composed under pressure. Your job isn't to react impulsively or try to prove yourself in the heat of the moment. It's to remain grounded in your own center, to keep your mind clear and your emotions in check. You want to respond with a calm that's magnetic, with words that carry weight, not because you're trying hard to impress, but because you know exactly who you are and you refuse to be rattled. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom. Don't let external events or other people's actions control your inner peace. So how do you actually practice this? First, start by training your mind daily. When a challenging situation or a test arises, don't jump straight into defense mode. Instead, pause, take a breath. Remind yourself, I control my response, not what she's doing. This tiny mental reset gives you the upper hand because it breaks the cycle of automatic emotional reactions. This pause is powerful. It's your secret weapon. It's the difference between losing your cool and responding with calm authority. Next, challenge yourself to look beyond the surface of the test. Women test not to annoy you, but to see if you embody certain qualities: resilience, confidence, self-awareness. So, instead of seeing the test as a personal attack, reframe it as an opportunity to show who you really are. When you do this, you shift the power dynamic. You're no longer reacting from fear or insecurity. You're responding from strength and purpose. Here's a simple exercise you can try right now. Think of a recent moment where you felt tested or challenged. Replay it in your mind, but this time, imagine responding like a Stoic. What would your tone sound like? What words would you choose? Would you pause before speaking? Would you speak calmly and clearly? Practicing this mental rehearsal rewires your brain to handle real situations better. It's like flexing a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger your response becomes. Remember the words of Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Every test is a chance to show your character, not just to others but to yourself. When you meet a test with silence instead of panic, or with thoughtful words instead of impulsive defenses, you're embodying that ancient Stoic ideal of inner mastery. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being better every single time. Finally, build the habit of journaling your reactions. After any interaction where you felt tested, write down how you responded and how you wished you had responded. Reflect on this regularly. This habit keeps you accountable and pushes you toward continuous growth. Over time, you'll notice patterns and begin to anticipate tests before they even fully arrive, allowing you to prepare your mind in advance. You don't have to be thrown off by tests anymore. Instead, embrace them. Use them as daily drills to sharpen your mental fortitude and emotional calm. Adopt these Stoic habits and watch how you transform from someone who just reacts to someone who commands respect with every word and every pause. The dark truth is that tests will always come, but your response, that wise, confident response rooted in Stoic practice, that's what changes everything. Start now and let that power shape every moment ahead. Number 5 practical tips to pass every test and build genuine respect. You want to pass every test a woman throws your way, not just to get through it, but to truly earn respect that lasts. This isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about becoming a man who naturally commands trust and admiration because you've mastered yourself. The Stoics knew this well, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." What that means for you is this: when you learn to control your reactions, your emotions, your impulses, you step into a space where tests lose their power to rattle you. So, let's talk about how you can practically apply this and change the game completely. First, you have to stop chasing approval and start focusing on your own integrity. Women test because they want to see if you're genuine, if your values are solid, and if you're steady enough to handle whatever life throws at you. So, instead of trying to impress or perform, practice staying grounded. Here's a simple exercise. The next time you feel the urge to react impulsively, whether it's frustration, impatience, or trying to prove something, pause and take 3 deep breaths. Focus solely on your breath. Remind yourself that your worth isn't tied to anyone's immediate reaction. This tiny moment of control builds up a fortress of calm inside you. Over time, it becomes second nature. Next, cultivate a mindset of curiosity rather than defensiveness. When a test comes, don't see it as an attack. Instead, view it as a chance to show your character. Seneca advised, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." You can do the same. When a challenge or test arises, ask yourself, what does this moment want to teach me? How can I respond in a way that reflects my best self? This shift in perspective makes a huge difference. Instead of flinching or over-explaining, you respond with clarity and purpose, and that's magnetic. Also, practice speaking less and listening more. Women often test men's reactions because they want to see if you can truly hear them without jumping to conclusions or getting defensive. You don't need to fix or solve everything immediately. Sometimes, the greatest strength is in your silence and presence. A practical habit to build here is to repeat what you heard in your own words before responding. It's a simple yet powerful move that shows respect and patience, and it keeps you from reacting prematurely. This kind of presence echoes the Stoic ideal of being fully aware and deliberate in your actions. Another crucial tip is to embrace uncertainty and stay adaptable. Tests often push you into unfamiliar emotional territory or unexpected scenarios. The Stoics believe that external events are beyond your control, but your response is entirely yours. Epictetus put it plainly, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So, when faced with a test, remind yourself that you don't need to have all the answers or control the outcome. Your power lies in your ability to remain composed and flexible. Practice this by deliberately putting yourself in small, controlled discomforts regularly, a cold shower, an unexpected change in plans, or a challenging conversation. This trains your mind to flow with life instead of fighting it. Finally, build consistency in your values and actions. Respect isn't won by occasional grand gestures or perfectly timed responses. It's earned day by day in how you show up. Create a personal code, your own Stoic compass, and stick to it. Write down what matters most to you in your relationships: honesty, patience, respect, calmness, or whatever you choose. Then review this list daily. Ask yourself, did I live these values today? When you answer honestly and adjust your behavior accordingly, you grow stronger. People, including women testing you, sense that unwavering integrity, and it's irresistible. So take action now. Start small. Breathe deeply before reacting. Listen to understand, not just to reply. Face little challenges to grow your resilience. Write your values down and live them. Each step moves you closer to passing every test, not because you're trying to prove something to others, but because you've proven it to yourself first. The Stoics remind us, he who is brave is free. Freedom here means freedom from fear, doubt, and the need for validation. When you live that freedom, you don't just pass tests, you transcend them. And that, my friend, is how genuine respect is born. Remember, understanding why women test men isn't about playing games. It's about mastering yourself and your reactions. As the Stoics taught us, true strength lies in control over your own mind and emotions, not in controlling others. When you embrace this mindset, passing every test becomes second nature. If you found these insights eye-opening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more wisdom that cuts through the noise. Drop a comment below. What's one test you faced and how did you handle it? Let's grow stronger together. Until next time, stay grounded, stay resilient, and keep mastering the art of self-mastery. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca. What if I told you that for over 2,000 years, Stoics have understood a subtle principle of human behavior, something that can dramatically improve the way you interact with women, yet most people remain completely unaware of it. Imagine being able to connect, influence, and communicate in a way that feels effortless, not manipulative. A method so simple, yet so profound, that it changes the dynamic instantly. In this video, we're going to uncover a timeless Stoic psychology trick that reveals why certain behaviors elicit attraction, respect, and genuine engagement. It's not about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about understanding human nature at its core, using principles that guided Epictetus and other Stoic masters. By the end of this video, you'll not only grasp this ancient wisdom, but you'll also learn how to apply it in real-life interactions with clarity, confidence, and calm. Stick with me till the very end, because skipping even a moment could mean missing the key insight that turns a simple conversation into a moment of genuine connection. Prepare yourself to see human behavior and your interactions in an entirely new light. Number 1. Master the art of calm detachment in interactions. Mastering the art of calm detachment in your interactions is one of the most powerful tools you can develop, and yet it's so rarely practiced. It's not about being cold or indifferent. It's about being fully present in the moment without surrendering your emotional stability to someone else's reactions, moods, or expectations. Said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When you internalize this, you start to see interactions as a landscape you navigate with awareness and intention, rather than a battlefield where you must react, impress, or overextend yourself to earn approval. Calm detachment is a practice of choice. Every time you feel the pull to respond impulsively, whether it's a text, a conversation, or an unspoken tension, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, am I responding from a place of composure or compulsion, from inner strength or external pressure? This tiny pause is your gateway to self-mastery. Epictetus teaches that it's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. The energy you spend reacting impulsively is energy stolen from your autonomy. When you detach calmly, you reclaim that energy. You regain focus. You decide your own emotional trajectory rather than surrendering it to someone else's influence. To make this practical, start by observing your impulses. Notice when you feel the urge to over-explain, to chase approval, or to fill silence with words that serve someone else's comfort rather than your own composure. Journal these moments. Record your triggers. By externalizing your tendencies, you create awareness, and awareness is the first step toward mastery. Then deliberately practice non-reaction. Let silence sit. Let patience unfold. Respond with thought, not impulse. Over time, this develops into a natural rhythm, where calm detachment is no longer an effort but a habit. The beauty of this approach is how it subtly reshapes perception. When you are calm and composed, others cannot manipulate your emotions easily. Your presence communicates confidence without words. Your steady demeanor invites respect and authenticity because it is rooted in self-governance, not in validation seeking. You are no longer chasing reactions or trying to control outcomes that are beyond your power. Instead, you are cultivating influence through your own poise, composure, and clarity. A practical exercise to deepen this skill is to create intentional moments of detachment throughout your day. During conversations, practice listening fully without immediately responding. Observe your emotional reactions but hold them lightly. Notice your urge to interject, to justify, to prove yourself, but don't act on it automatically. Reflect afterward. Where did you maintain calm? Where did impulses take over? This is the training ground of the Stoics. Small, consistent exercises that build resilience, awareness, and control. Another exercise is to set boundaries in advance. Before entering interactions that might stir emotional reactions, identify your intentions. Decide in advance what you will tolerate, what is none of your concern, and what you will let pass without engagement. When the moment comes, your detachment is not reactive, it is deliberate. You respond according to principle, not compulsion. Ultimately, mastering calm detachment transforms every interaction. You move from being a participant in someone else's emotional currents to being anchored in your own. You cultivate influence without aggression, presence without clinginess, and authority without force. You become a figure of balance, someone who operates from clarity and strength rather than uncertainty and neediness. Through consistent practice, what once felt unnatural becomes second nature. You will notice a shift, not just in how others respond, but in how you experience life. Interactions lose their power to destabilize you. You operate with confidence, clarity, and calm, embodying the very Stoic principles that have guided thinkers for thousands of years. You are no longer pulled by external events. You are steady, self-contained, and unshakable, and that is a kind of mastery few ever achieve. Number 2, show value without seeking validation. Showing value without seeking validation is a subtle art, but it's one of the most powerful tools you can master. It's not about impressing anyone, performing for attention, or proving that you're worthy. It's about living in a way that naturally radiates strength, competence, and self-respect. Said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. The Stoics knew that true value is inherent. It isn't something you broadcast for approval. It's something that emerges from consistent action, from integrity, and from self-mastery. When you stop bending yourself to fit someone else's expectations, when you stop seeking a nod, a compliment, or a like, you create space for authentic presence. That's when real attraction happens, not the kind that fades with attention, but the kind that endures because it's rooted in character. You can start practicing this today. Begin by noticing the moments when your behavior is motivated by the desire to be validated. Maybe it's a message, a gesture, or even an opinion you share. Catch yourself. Pause. Ask, am I doing this to demonstrate my worth, or am I doing this because it aligns with my principles? Journaling these moments helps you uncover patterns. Reflection transforms impulse into awareness, and awareness is the first step toward internal sovereignty. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your reactions are your domain. By controlling them, you demonstrate your value without uttering a single word of self-promotion. Another powerful exercise is to cultivate skills and habits that enhance your life, not your image. Exercise, learn, create, read. Invest in yourself for the sake of growth, not recognition. Each time you dedicate energy to personal improvement without expecting applause, you strengthen the core of who you are. This is the kind of presence that's magnetic because it's independent, self-sufficient, and unshakable. People sense authenticity. They sense when someone's worth is self-contained, rather than externally reinforced. You can also practice conscious restraint in communication. Resist the urge to constantly justify your actions, explain yourself, or seek reassurance. Speak when it matters, act when it counts, and otherwise, allow your consistency and calm confidence to speak for you. This creates an aura of competence that doesn't rely on verbal persuasion or approval seeking. Over time, you'll notice a shift, not only in how others perceive you, but in how you perceive yourself. You begin to trust your own judgment, to honor your own standards, and to live according to your own principles. Finally, embrace reflection as a daily habit. Each night, review your interactions. Did you act in alignment with your values, or were you chasing validation? Celebrate the moments where you acted from self-mastery and gently recalibrate when you notice deviation. This exercise, simple as it may sound, rewires your mindset. You begin to internalize that your value isn't measured by attention, admiration, or approval. It's measured by your integrity, your discipline, and your clarity of purpose. Showing value without seeking validation is both liberating and transformative. It's a quiet, potent signal of strength. You become someone whose presence commands respect without demanding it. You cultivate autonomy. You demonstrate, through action and character, that your worth is inherent and self-contained. In the Stoic view, this is the pinnacle of human freedom, the ability to live fully and purposefully, unshaken by external judgments, and to inspire recognition not because you chase it, but because you embody it. This is not just a strategy, it is a practice, a mindset, and a daily commitment to mastery of self. Number 3, use silence strategically to create respect. Silence is more than the absence of words. It is a language in itself, a force that communicates boundaries, strength, and presence without ever raising your voice. When used deliberately, silence commands respect because it signals that you are not driven by the need for constant approval or validation. Once said, "Be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it." When you speak less and act with intention, you embody that cliff. Your calm, measured demeanor becomes magnetic, drawing attention without effort and creating a sense of gravitas that words alone could never convey. You have to understand this. People naturally respect those who are self-contained, who aren't desperate to fill every gap with noise, who can hold space without losing composure. Strategic silence allows you to cultivate that respect because it creates space for reflection, both for yourself and for those around you. Epictetus reminds us, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. Your response can be silence. When you resist the urge to react impulsively, to fill conversation with unnecessary explanations, or to constantly justify your actions, you demonstrate mastery over your impulses. You show that your attention is not cheap, that your energy is precious, and that your presence carries weight. The exercise here is simple, but it demands discipline. Begin by observing your conversations. Notice how often you speak out of habit, nervousness, or the need to be liked. Next, deliberately pause before responding, even in moments of tension or uncertainty. Count to 3, breathe, and choose whether your words are truly necessary or whether silence might speak louder. By practicing this daily, you teach yourself restraint, and simultaneously, you create an aura of respect. People start to realize that your engagement is intentional, not automatic. Strategic silence also empowers your inner dialogue. During moments when you would normally feel compelled to react, take a step inward. Ask yourself, what is my principle here? What truly matters in this interaction? Write down your thoughts if needed, but resist immediate verbal expression. This not only strengthens your self-control, but allows you to act from clarity rather than habit. Over time, you will notice that your interactions become more meaningful, more intentional, and more impactful. The scarcity of your words makes them more valued. Another practical step is to schedule periods of intentional quiet. Set aside times in your day where you refrain from unnecessary communication. No scrolling, no messages, no impulsive commentary. Use these moments to reflect, meditate, or engage in purposeful action. The more comfortable you become with silence, the more naturally it will flow into your relationships. Your calm presence becomes a statement in itself, that you are centered, in control, and self-respecting. Remember, respect isn't demanded, it is earned. And one of the oldest tricks the Stoics understood is that respect grows when you stop over-explaining, over-pleasing, and overreacting. Silence is not emptiness, it is power, and it conveys a subtle confidence that draws admiration without effort. When you embrace this principle, you are not only cultivating respect from others, but also nurturing a profound respect for yourself. In essence, every deliberate pause, every measured response, every moment of quiet is a declaration. You are grounded, you are disciplined, and your presence is not to be taken lightly. Use silence strategically. Let it shape the way people perceive you, but more importantly, let it shape the way you perceive yourself. Stand firm like the cliff. Speak only when it matters, and watch as respect naturally follows. Number 4, mirror behavior subtly to build connection. Mirroring behavior is one of those quiet, almost invisible tools that can create profound connection without a single word. When you subtly reflect someone's gestures, tone, or energy, you're not imitating them in a shallow way. You're aligning with their rhythm, signaling empathy and understanding on a subconscious level. Think of it like a dance. If you match the pace and flow without forcing it, you create harmony. Said, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't help it. The insight here is that people are shaped by their perceptions and states of mind. When you mirror subtly, you don't change them, but you create a bridge that makes it easier for them to feel understood. That understanding, in turn, cultivates connection. You can practice this consciously. Start by observing. Pay attention to the rhythm of their speech, their posture, the way they gesture, the tone and volume of their voice. Then allow your own behavior to reflect theirs, but naturally. Don't overdo it. The goal isn't mimicry, it's resonance. Even small shifts, leaning slightly when they lean, matching the tempo of their sentences, softening your tone when they are gentle, signal attentiveness and presence. Epictetus reminds us, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Listening isn't passive. It's active observation, and when combined with subtle mirroring, it communicates without a word that you are attuned. The real power lies in subtlety. If your reflection is exaggerated, it becomes obvious and feels manipulative. But when it's natural, effortless, and responsive, it builds rapport without conscious effort. This requires awareness, patience, and self-control. It requires you to put your own ego aside and prioritize the energy of connection over the need to impress or control. Every interaction becomes an exercise in self-mastery. You are observing, adjusting, and responding deliberately rather than reacting impulsively. This is the essence of Stoic psychology applied to human relationships: calm, measured, intentional. To make this actionable, start with micro-mirroring in low-stakes interactions. Notice posture, gestures, or vocal rhythm. Adjust yours gently to match. Then reflect internally, how does it feel? How does the interaction shift? Over time, you'll see that people become more comfortable, more open, more receptive to what you say because they sense harmony and understanding. Pair this with intentional presence. Maintain eye contact, nod naturally, and allow pauses. These small adjustments amplify your impact without words. Another exercise is to consciously pair mirroring with curiosity. Ask questions that invite elaboration and then mirror the energy in their responses. If they're animated, allow yourself to be animated in reflection. If they're soft-spoken, slow down and soften your cadence. This dual practice, mirroring and mindful curiosity, creates an invisible feedback loop. People feel heard, recognized, and aligned with, and you cultivate influence without exerting force. Remember, the goal isn't manipulation. It's connection grounded in presence and awareness. You are learning to operate from a place of understanding, not control. The Stoics practice this through observation and intentional action, training themselves to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. By mirroring subtly, you tap into that ancient wisdom. Connection is built through resonance, empathy, and alignment, not through dominance or coercion. So start small, start deliberate, and let your presence be a mirror that reflects understanding. Over time, this becomes a habit, a second nature, a quiet mastery of human interaction. You'll find that when you mirror with intention, connection happens effortlessly, and influence flows naturally, all because you mastered the art of presence. Number 5, demonstrate self-sufficiency as the ultimate attraction. True attraction doesn't come from chasing, persuading, or bending yourself to fit someone else's expectations. It comes from being fully grounded in your own life, your own goals, and your own sense of value. Demonstrating self-sufficiency is not about arrogance or detachment. It's about embodying a life so full and purposeful that your presence alone becomes magnetic. Once said, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. When you internalize that, your energy changes. You're no longer asking for validation, attention, or approval. You're not waiting for someone to fill a void that doesn't exist. Instead, you live fully, intentionally, and deliberately, and that is the ultimate form of attraction. People are drawn to confidence, yes, but more than that, they are drawn to completeness. Self-sufficiency is a mindset you cultivate moment by moment. It begins with controlling your own thoughts and emotions. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Your freedom lies in mastery over your reactions, your desires, and your priorities. When you can wake up each day, focus on growth, pursue your passions, and remain emotionally stable regardless of external circumstances, you project a magnetic sense of autonomy. This is not about being cold or distant, it's about being whole. You're no longer a puzzle piece looking for someone to complete you. You are already complete. Practical exercises make this real. Start with deliberate routines that reinforce your independence. Dedicate time each day to a personal project, skill, or goal that excites you. When impulses arise to seek attention or reassurance from others, pause and redirect that energy inward. Journal your thoughts. Meditate on your values. Remind yourself that your worth is intrinsic, not borrowed from external validation. These small, consistent actions build a foundation of internal strength that radiates outward. Another powerful step is to practice intentional boundaries. Respect your time, your energy, and your priorities. Say no when you need to, and do not overextend yourself to satisfy others' desires. By doing so, you reinforce the message that your life is governed by your principles, not by the whims or approval of others. Silence, calmness, and consistency in your actions communicate self-sufficiency more effectively than any words ever could. The Stoics understood that attraction is deeply connected to the energy you carry. When you operate from a place of need, you transmit insecurity. When you operate from a place of wholeness, purpose, and internal stability, you transmit strength. Your presence itself becomes compelling because it signals that you are not dependent on external forces for happiness or fulfillment. This is magnetic. It draws interest naturally, without effort or calculation. To fully integrate this, set aside time each week to reflect on your growth. Assess your habits, your goals, and the ways in which you maintain independence. Ask yourself, are my choices driven by others' expectations or by my own purpose? Are my emotions tethered to external approval, or do they arise from my own mastery? By answering honestly, you reinforce self-sufficiency as a practice, not just a concept. Ultimately, demonstrating self-sufficiency is the Stoic strategy for living powerfully in relationships and in life. You become someone whose happiness, energy, and direction are self-generated. That energy, the calm, grounded, purposeful energy, cannot be forced, faked, or taken. It commands respect and naturally inspires attraction. When you live like this, your presence alone communicates what words never could, that you are complete, strong, and unshakable. That is the female psychology trick the Stoics have known for 2,000 years. And the remarkable part, you don't need anyone else to teach it to you. You just need to step into your own mastery. So there you have it, the timeless female psychology trick that Stoics have quietly understood for over 2,000 years. Remember, the power isn't in trying to control others. It's in mastering yourself, in understanding the subtle currents of human behavior, and in using that awareness with calm and clarity. If you take just one thing away from this video, let it be this. When you see the world through the lens of Stoic wisdom, you stop being manipulated by impulses, emotions, and hidden agendas. Instead, You step into a place of quiet confidence, where you understand others without losing your own peace. Now here's what I want you to do. Take this knowledge and observe it in the real world. Notice the patterns, test them, and reflect on the results. The Stoics didn't just theorize, they lived it, and so can you. If this video helped you see human behavior in a new light, hit like, subscribe, and click the bell so you never miss the next Stoic insight that could change the way you navigate life and relationships. And remember, true power isn't forcing the world to bend to you. It's knowing the rules of the game and playing it with complete mastery.